Hello, hello, Stephanie Zima, my way of life coaching, coming to you today about why you are disappearing from your online business. If you are anything like I am, and I was, as a matter of fact, you have days where you are showing up and you are building, you're reaching out, you're posting, you are excited, especially when you're maybe coming from convention or from an event, you are super excited and you start implementing, you're starting to take action in your business. But then lasts about 2 to 3 days, maybe if you hustle through a week, and then out of the sudden everything is back to normal. Does that sound familiar to you? If yes, let me know in the comments. I would love to know. I know I'm not by myself. You can even, if you don't want to publicly comment, because some people don't want to admit to this. It's a very shameful way of being, right? Sometimes we want to say we are always showing up really great and we are doing all the things, and we don't really want to admit what's in the shadows. We don't really want to admit that maybe we show up for a day or two and then out of the sudden, oh, it's totally gone. I want to give you permission today to embrace that process and see and listen up, open up, right? So if you don't want to comment here or like my video, let me know in the in the DMs. Let me know privately, because this is a topic we all need to talk about. It is not normal that 80% of people that are driving towards a better financial future for them, that are wanting and having the desire to make more out of their lives, that 80% of those people are not going to make it. That is not a statistic that I can get on board on, right? And so I started digging. I started realizing, why is this happening? Why are people not taking actions? Why are they, and not just they, I was the same, right? Why am I, I was thinking about myself and I'm like, I am so into this. I know what I want to build. I know what I can do, but why am I inconsistent? Why am I showing up? I was bold. I was able to create content, but I wasn't following through on conversations. I wasn't able to get them from a all the way to a close. And halfway through, I would not show up all the time. And I'm like, I don't understand why. So I did digging for you, and hopefully this will be beneficial for you so you can start understanding why you are maybe falling off the wagon. And when you are understanding what's behind it, you are going to be able to change and transform just like I have, okay? Because it's very frustrating when you know you're meant for more, but you just can't make yourself do it. And then out of the sudden, everybody's looking at you with this pitiful eye of judgy, judgy, and now you're out of the sudden having excuses as to why you can't be doing any of these things. And in the end, there's a portion of you that feels like really yucky because you are letting everybody down, and then you start doubting, thinking to yourself like, do I really not know what I'm doing? Or so it's almost like you're gaslighting yourself, okay? And it's just a really frustrating situation, and I have answers for you. I have answers because I've gone through this muddy, brainy, foggy state of trying to figure out what was going on, and I have answers. So the nervous system as a gatekeeper is what I want to talk about. The nervous system as a gatekeeper, okay? Your nervous system, that is what is operating on a constant basis for you. So you have a desire, you want to do something, you are wanting to succeed, create extra income for your family, you want to have maybe more friends, maybe you want, maybe you liked network marketing or online entrepreneurship because of time freedom. Maybe you liked it because of the instant adult connection. That was me back then, right? I was a stay-at-home mom with my kiddos, and network marketing was giving me an opportunity to still talk to adults. I mean, it was something that I was like, wow, I can still feel like I am someone else than just mom. So it gave me that adult connection. That is one of the things, but that interested me on this whole situation. And maybe that's for you. Maybe that's a case. Now, when you come to the obstacles, right, you're starting to take action. People are telling you, make a list of 100, reach out to the people, make your posts. You're trying to find people, you're trying to talk to people, you're trying to have conversations. And out of the sudden, now here comes an obstacle and it's going to start feeling hard, right? It's because your nervous system is putting a stop to your actions because your brain perceives what you're about to do as a threat. Okay. So it's all this stuff. This is not conscious until you start looking at it and then working at it, right? So maybe, and it's unique for every single person. That's why your upline or your boss is not able to help you, because you've got to do it yourself. You've got to do the work yourself. So in my mentorship group, for example, that's what we're doing every week. We are checking in our habits. We are taking a look. What is our environment like? Are we organized? Are we not organized? Where are we at with our life in general? What beliefs are popping up when we're thinking about creating, when we're thinking about lead generation? What organization does a business require even? See, it's so funny. When I started back then, let me just get back there, right? When I started back then, I was told, now you're an entrepreneur, now you're a business owner. And I felt super special, but with that specialty came also that big, huge 100-pound shield that I really didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea what lead generation was. I had no idea what I needed to do for marketing purposes. I had no idea how to create sales, how to start conversations, how to keep conversations going. What do I even wanted them to go with? I mean, there was so much. What was my funnel going to be like? How was I going to plug people in? Did I have systems? Do I not have systems? And then trying to build a business, an online business, mind you, also that is tangible. Okay, so meaning it's not like you're coming into a brick and mortar where every day you're going to sit at the same desk with the same icons on your desk, unless you are a very organized person already, which I clearly was not. I had no idea what I was doing. I was like creating graphics, I was creating slides, I was creating stories, I was playing around with this software hack that I found somewhere, and all of this was like such a big confusing mess. So what happened is, as I was trying to work through this, I started finding myself standing mentally behind it, but my body was just not functioning. I wasn't able to do it. I would out of the sudden have another reason why I couldn't do my reach outs. And I started realizing like every single day I would have an excuse. Every single day something else was popping up. Every single day I couldn't stick with my schedule. I wrote out when I needed to make a power hour. I wrote out when I needed to talk to who. And for whatever reason, I would lose track of it all the time. Nothing was working. Okay. Nothing was working. And first I blamed the lack of organization that I had going on. Then I was playing around with maybe I should do it digitally on a Google sheet. Maybe I should do it on an Excel sheet. Maybe I should put it in a notebook. And, every time I would be somewhere else, out of the sudden I forgot my notebook and I wasn't able to do this and that. And it was just a hot mess, not gonna lie, okay? I was a hot mess. I knew what I was talking about with the coaching and the emotions, but actually running a business was so stressful for me because my life was not organized yet. My environment was not to the point that when I sat at my workspace, I was actually able to work. And then, of course, I'm a busy mom, so then there was time restraints, right? And you only have, and yes, it's the reason why we sign up for this business, because people are telling you, oh, you can work this in the nooks and crannies of your day. And yes, you can. You totally can. However, not if you're walking around like a hot mess, okay? Not if you are not organized, not when you don't know which projects you're actually moving on, what brings your needle forward? What is it that is going to bring you farther along, right? So you can see from just a little bit of me sharing that journey that I've gone through, that if you don't have clarity on lead generation, if you don't have clarity on what your environment is like, if you don't have systems that you can handle when things get out of whack, because they will, right? Every single time you sit down and trying to do something, what is, a child comes in and wants something else. What's your contingency? How can you then have the backup system for the system? See, there's a lot of strategy behind you actually succeeding and making that little entrepreneur journey that you have work for you. Now, how do we come back to the nervous system? Your nervous system is the gatekeeper. That is what's showing you. So if you don't take action, it's because you have a big, huge mess going on somewhere. And I'm sorry if you don't like to hear that, but that's really the truth. You have an idea what you're supposed to be doing, but you're probably not being able to actually dedicate it. You are not putting it all in place if you're struggling, okay? And now the fact that you are struggling here and that it's not really quite working, that is triggering your nervous system into fight, flight, or freeze mode, because you're recognizing your shortcomings. You're recognizing your system is like, oh, this does not feel good. And boop, 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 alarm, 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 alarm. Your nervous system shuts you down because it's doing its job. Its job is to keep you safe, okay? So that's where it's at. So if you want to be consistent in your business, which you have to, if you want to have some kind of results, you need to have consistency. You need to compound all of these little things that you're doing in these little areas that you are working on. And so in order to do that, you need to have not just knowledge about what is required in the areas and the projects that you're moving forward, but you also need to know how you're responding to them. So if you have limiting beliefs or an identity mismatch, misalignment when it comes to lead generation activities, for example, meaning posting, meaning reaching out to people, meaning starting conversations. If there's something misaligned there, maybe your parents were saying you don't have the personality for it. Maybe your parents were talking out of fears for themselves. Maybe there's money beliefs, money scarcity. Maybe there's scarcity that you're thinking that I don't have enough people to reach out to. There's not a lot of people in my neighborhood, or, all of these, whatever thoughts are popping up for you, those thoughts will then trigger your nervous system to freeze. And when you freeze, you won't move. When you are fleeing away, you're procrastinating, you have other things. When you're fighting, you're blaming everybody and everything else around you. The key here is to make your system feel safe. When you feel safe, that's when you only can evaluate, what is really going on here for me? Do I have to work through a mindset issue? Or do I have to work through, do I maybe need to work on a belief, an identity mismatch? Who am I? What is my mission? What is my vision? What is my principles? Who am I as a person? See, that's alone a big, huge, loaded situation for people like I used to be 8 years ago. I was a stay-at-home mom. I had no identity other than being mom. I did not realize anymore who I was. I mean, I didn't even know which end was up some days. So how, do you see this? Like, how can I be this entrepreneur? I had to work my way through. I had to learn what am I believing even? Like, and it's not politics or anything like that. It's just like, who do I believe I am as a person? What boundaries do I want to have? So, for example, my core values is honesty, excellence, and respect. Those are my three major things: honesty, excellence, and respect. Now, what does that look like? What does honest even look like, right? It fuels me because I like to talk deep conversation. I don't like necessarily only the small talk. Yes, small talk is important, but I like to really look behind the scenes. It's something that aligns with who I am. I like to hear what's really going on for people. I like to look behind the filter, right? I like to see authenticity. That aligns with my core value of honesty. I like you to be honest so I can decide if I want to be a friend with you or not. I like me to be honest so you can decide if you want to align with me or not, right? But in order to show up honest, I also had to heal some of the insecurities that I had. If I show up honest, I might lose you because you might decide, oh no, that's not for me. Now I had to heal what popped up, abandonment wounds, right? Self insecurity, what's the right word? So, like insecurity, self-esteem issues. That's it. Self-esteem issues. I had to work through all of that. I had to be okay with who I was. I had to learn how to be okay. I had to start healing that part, right? So then from that point on, when you have that figured out who you are, honestly, what does honesty show up as in content creation, for example? Content creation, like I like live videos. I like having conversations like this because I want you to see who I am. I want you to hear my imperfect language. I want you to hear me. I want you to hear my tone. I want you to see my facial expression because you already decide, do I like this person or do I not? That's honesty, right? It's aligned with the core value. But see, here's the trouble for you. If you have never made that work of figuring out who you are and what you're wanting to do, you cannot apply that to your brand. You cannot apply that to your marketing. You cannot apply that to your sales conversations. And all of these little nuances, they matter, okay? They matter for you to be able to get your energy, to keep up your energy, to be there regularly, to feel aligned with what you're doing, feeling good about what you're doing, and keeping that energy to actually do it. The motivation, intrinsic motivation, meaning you decide, you be the leader of yourself. You are the one that is like, you don't need a cheerleader all the time telling you, hey, why don't you just post something today? If you want to build a business, you're going to have to be the leader. You're going to have to be the one that is showing up on a daily and every day, regardless if you have emotions, if you're feeling like that or not, right? That's the goal here. You need to be unoffendable. You need to be somebody that shows up no matter what. And that does not build overnight. That does not build by itself. Okay, that is something that you have to build through identifying who you are, what baggage comes with it, figuring out the messiness around it, and then moving on. So the same thing is with excellence. Okay, my second core value of excellence is like, hey, how does excellence look like in my business? What does excellence look like in my personal health, in my parenting, in my life in general? What does excellent mean to me? What standards do I have with that? What are my principles? How do I show up, right? Is excellence that I always need to have perfect makeup and perfect outfits? I can't deliver that all the time. I'm still a busy mom running around. Like, is that really what means excellence to me? See, I'm telling you these things because I want you to see that this is a process. I want you to see that it's an ongoing, ever evolving way of building your brand, building your life, building your business slowly but surely. Like you're not going to say, "Ooh, now I'm ready. Now I'm going to be ready for $1 million business." No, you start at the bottom. You start building your foundation. You start building, figuring out what's going on. Then you're building the walls of your house. Then you're building the roof. And then you're starting to figure out what's the inside going to look like. Your voice is going to develop, your values are going to develop. What does excellence to me look like in terms of customer service, for example? I am not there yet. I am definitely not fulfilling my full on, I don't even think that I have full on thought every single thing out yet. And that's what I wanted to tell you also. You don't have to be completely ready yet. Okay, because there's so much work that if you wait for it to be ready, you are never going to start. So you need to start at number one. You need to start with what you already got, and then you're gonna. It's almost like I was on the phone today with Apple because my Apple Drive has been such a mess. Like for 8 years that I've built this business, and me being a stay-at-home mom and doing everything by myself, basically, like I had files and folders and graphics and pictures, and like I have 49,000 pictures on my camera roll and over all my different devices. And I was just like, oh, that right there, my digital environment is a mess. And I started realizing, wow, this is really reflective of how my mind was operating for all these years. Now, I am better now, so I am starting to organize. But here's what I want to tell you. See, you can't organize something if you don't know the outcome. You don't know, if you see, you always have to know the outcome first. What is it supposed to look like? And then you start building it from there, right? And that is the thing. You have to like know on the top, where do I want to go? What is it supposed to like be like? And sometimes you have to start messy in the beginning to learn to then figure out what it is, and you have to work with that a little bit. So excellence, definitely my customer service, not where I want it to be. I would like to have like welcome email send and all that kind of stuff, but right now we're not quite there yet. But you need to start somewhere in order to get started, okay? Um, but again, when your nervous system shuts you down, you won't do it. So there's ways how to calm yourself down even when you get triggered. The more you work with it, the more you start understanding that your biological state, your state is linked with your identity, how you think about yourself, what thoughts are coming in, how you physically show up today, what your energy state is like. That's when you start making an impact. That's when you start making strides, right? And doing that alone is very hard. I've had to do this alone. I've had to work my way through this alone. And only because I'm so stubborn, the German of me, I just won't give up. I mean, there's just no quitting this person, right? There's no quitting. And I started recognizing that the fight, flight, and freeze response was something that took me out all the time. I started really meditating and figuring out how can I heal myself? How can I calm my way through my personal obstacles that I've had going on with the last few years. And then I started realizing the more I was helping myself on a personal level, the better I started showing up in my business as well. And so out of the sudden, I was able to connect in teaching the framework of the Walk It Free, the walk, the heal, the connect, and the level up. And the more I started teaching it, and the more I was applying it to myself, the more I started realizing like, wow, this is all linked together. You have to heal your nervous system. You have to become aware. You have to calm yourself down. You have to learn to see your triggers, know what your obstacles are, get clear on who you really want to be, what you're really wanting to create, who it's for, how you are going to deliver it, what is your offer going to be, and you can't just copy paste from other people anymore, okay? Because that's so washed down. Your uniqueness in 2026 and going on, especially with all this AI stuff, is going to be your unique viewpoint, your point of view, right? Your feelings, your life expertise, your background that you have. See, no one can copy me. You can try to use a teach my walk it free method, but no one can copy me because those are my experiences. Yes, are other mentors talking about nervous system? Probably. Not a lot though, but it's like no one can exactly teach you what I'm teaching you at this point because that is my experiences that I have, my skills, all that stuff that I have been putting into this mentorship, right? And into the system, the heal, connect, and level up. So long story short, when you want to build a business, okay, we've already talking way too long here, you need to show up regulated. You cannot build anything if you are dysregulated. You will find yourself inconsistent. You will find yourself burnt out. You will find yourself completely completely losing track of every single thing that's going on. Um, and you will just have this hot mess environment with no productivity, with no action. And I just told my kiddos this, because this is not just for business. The way how you are operating with this, it will transform your entire life. It will transform your health. It will transform how you're seeing yourself, how you are feeling about life. It will help you with with your children, with your teenagers, for example. Teenagers, the reason why so many people have problems with teenagers is because as the kids are detaching from you and they're building their own identity, it is very scary to parents to out of the sudden realize that there's somebody not liking you. Now it's triggering your nervous system as well as you are triggering their nervous system. See, this is why there's a lot of teenage angst, and there's also a lot of adult angst. And then once you're an empty nester, out of the sudden that all changes. And it's always this, but everything is coming back down to regulation, to be clear on your foundation, on what is your values, what are your principles, meaning how do I show up? What does excellence mean to me? What does honesty mean to me? I tell my children this, for example. I'm like, I don't care how many mistakes you make. You don't have to be perfect. You can make all the mistakes in the world, but you must tell me about those. Because if you're hiding this, I feel violated in honesty. Just tell me what it is so we can work with it. Okay? Everyone is going to make mistakes. And that is where, see, shame cannot build. And that's why you often are not even looking in what's going on here, because there's a lot of shame in people. People have recognized that, oh, I have shortcomings, or I'm not doing it right, or this person is better, comparison mode, like all that stuff. And you build up shame. And the problem with shame is that when you are letting shame win, because you don't want to be honest about what's going on for you, you're going to let that shame win, and that monster that's created in the shadows is going to get so big that it's stealing and robbing you of your dreams. Okay? It's stealing and robbing you from every single thing that you wanted to do. That shame and that fear and that overwhelm and all that anxiety that people are dealing with, that is keeping you from actually getting what you want. Connection. You want connection. You want to be loved. You want to feel peace. You feel calm. You want to do the things in your life that you want to do. And it has nothing to do with money, okay? You can feel peace and happiness and connection and love with zero money. Okay, so money, of course, is good to have. Clearly, it's a good tool to have, but money also won't come if you are not a good steward of it, and if you're disorganized in your environment and in your digital environment and in your life and with your finances, and like all of that is playing a big, huge role. So then your energy is going to be off. You're going to live in scarcity. You're going to live in stress. Your cortisol is up, right? And you need to just remember that when you regulate your nervous system, you are going to attract abundance. You are going to attract peace. You're going to attract happiness. You're going to attract all the things that you're actually wanting, right? Without the hustle, though. And that's a clearing. This is the important part. It's without the hustle. Because if you're operating in your human design based on how you are meant to be, based on what you are doing best, and you are using all of you to build something that you have created, now that's super authentic, right? Not only will you have fun with it, but you are also actually operating the way how your body is intended to be, how God made you, how He has given you gifts that He now wants you to go and give away, right? So it's building capacity. The influx of energy that comes into your life is going to build capacity for you to show up and serve others. And that is your actualization of self-fulfillment in really reaching for the purpose. Okay, so if you resonated with anything that I said here today, let me know. Send me a message, comment below, share this with somebody else. I really would love for you to help me share that out to people, you know. Maybe if you're looking at my social media, my reach has not been super great yet because clearly I was very much all over the place with my marketing, but we are hopefully rectifying the situation. So if you can help me out in the meantime, I would really love for you to spread the word, let people know about what I'm teaching here, let people know about this video, and let me know your comments below. Okay, I'll see you all next time. Bye.